Hello everyone, welcome back to my English class. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about conditional sentences. Okay, first we will talk about the first conditional and the second conditional. Okay, let's look at these examples. If I go home, my mother will cook my favorite cuisine. And second, if I had a ball, I would play soccer with my friends. If I were a student, I would avoid cheating on exams. So these examples are conditionals, conditional sentences. Okay, now let's look at what is conditional. Conditional is used to describe the result of a condition. So we have if clause. If clause tells us the condition. And we also have a main clause. Main clause tells us the result. Okay, let's look at the example. If I go home, my mother will cook my favorite cuisine. If I go home is the if clause, and it tells us the condition. That is the condition. If I go home, and then main clause, my mother will cook my favorite cuisine. Okay, so this is the main clause, and that's the result. And we can also change the position. Main clause comes first. My mother will cook my favorite cuisine if I go home. Okay, the difference is if clause comes first, we have a comma after the if clause. But if main clause comes first, there is no comma here. Okay, the meaning is exactly the same. All right, now let's look at this is my favorite cuisine. Let's look at the first conditional. The first conditional is used to talk about future situations that are possible to happen. Okay, so let's talking about future situations that might happen, possible to happen. Example, if the situation gets better, the president will come to Lake Toba. Okay, so here we have condition, which is the if clause. If the situation gets better, and then the result clause or the main clause, the president will come to Lake Toba. What is the meaning of this sentence? This means the situation probably gets better. And if the situation gets better, the president will come to Lake Toba. And the president probably comes to Lake Toba. So, the situation might happen in the future. Okay? Let's look at the form. The form if plus subject plus verb 1, that's if clause. And then the main clause, subject plus will plus base form. Or in the if clause, we have present simple. And then in the main clause, we have future simple. Okay, get here. Look at the example. We have if, subject, the situation, and verb 1, gets. And then the main clause, we have subject, the president, and will, and base form, come. Okay? Okay, let's look at this conversation. What are you waiting for? We need to go now. Hold on, I almost finished my homework. The train may leave soon. And Mark responds, if the train leaves, we will go by bus. Okay, can you see that? If the train leaves, we'll go by bus. So there's a chance that the train may leave. And there's a chance that they may go by bus. It might happen in the future. There is possibility. Okay, instead of using will, we can also use model. We can use may, can, and should. Okay, let's look at the example. If you do the dishes, you may play with your friends. Okay, here we use may. If you're sleepy, you can wash your face and have some coffee. Okay, here we use can. So may and can are used to give permission. And then should. If you cook, you should clean the vegetables. Okay, here we use should instead of will. So should here is used to give advice, right? Okay. Now let's go to the second conditional. The second conditional is used to imagine present or future situations that are impossible to happen. So, contrary to the first conditional, which is possible to happen, the second conditional is impossible to happen. We are imagining something that is impossible to happen. Example, if I had lots of money, I would buy a big house. Yes, I would buy this big house if I had lots of money. What's the meaning? What does this mean? In reality, it means I do not have lots of money, so I will not buy a big house. I'm imagining if I had lots of money, but in reality, I don't have lots of money. Okay? Let's look at the form. If plus subject plus verb 2. Subject plus would plus base form. Or in the if clause, we have past simple. And in the main clause, we have past future. Okay, let's look at if here and subject I and verb 2 had. Had is have, right? Okay. And then subject I in the main clause. And we have would and base form by. All right. Okay, let's look at more examples of second conditional sentences. If I knew how to swim, I would go to swimming pool. Okay, so if clause here we use past knew, and then would plus base form would go. What does this mean? I don't know how to swim, right? I don't know how to swim, so I'll not go to the swimming pool. If I were you, I would practice my English every day. Okay, so here we have I were you. So in second conditional, we use were instead of was, whatever the subject is. If I were you, I would practice my English every day. Okay? So if you say if I was you, that's incorrect. So we should say if I were you, I would practice my English every day. If she were here, if he were here. Okay? So we use were instead of was as the be verb. If I became a president, I'd reduce the taxes. Okay, here we have I'd reduce. It is would, so we contract into it. It reduce, and then if he were here, it help us resolve the conflict. Okay, so here we have he were here. Here the same to be, same be verb were not was, and it is contracted. It help from would. All right. Let's look at conditional in conversation. You look worried. What are you think of? I didn't turn in my assignment. I'm afraid the teacher will get angry. Why didn't you submit it? I forgot to do it because I had a lot of homework to do. Then Maxi gives suggestion. If I were you, I would apologize and tell him the truth. Okay? This sounds like a good idea. Thank you, Max. Here we can see Maxi gives a suggestion using if I were you, not if I was you. Okay. Okay, we can also use model instead of would. It's second conditional. We can use might or could. For example, if John had a big garden, he might plant various flowers. Okay, John had the same past. He might plant. Okay, so instead of using would, we can use might. And then my roommate could buy lots of novels if he had much money. So here we use could, and main clause comes first. So we don't have a comma. We don't need a comma here. So my roommate could buy lots of novels if he had much money. But in reality, my roommate does not have lots of money. My roommate does not have much money. Okay. Well, Try to make three sentences with the first conditional and three with the second conditional. Okay, let's look at your understanding, whether you understand the first and the second conditional by making some example. Okay, I think that's all. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.